Hello, my friends. How are you? How's things? How was your weekend? Do anything exciting? We left Violet with her grandmother again last night, so the second time away from home, and this time's much, much better. With going through the whole sleep training thing, Violet's come out of that a much more independent child. Like, she doesn't want to be held to put to sleep. She's fine. Like, we can leave her on the floor for a long time. She's great. And so getting past the sleep training, I think, was a huge, huge hurdle, especially for being able to like leave her overnight with grandma. So we had a night off, and you know what I did? I woke up at 2 a.m. and then woke up at 4:30 a.m. because why not? Obviously, whatever. So that was my big thing, but not my big thing. That was just something that happened. Halloween night. We don't get trick-or-treaters here, like, at all. This is a little development. There's like 19 houses here. It's kind of, the rest of this area is a place where I don't want to say it's rough. It's not really rough, but it's just this isn't like a place where you could walk and do a lot of trick-or-treating. And there's other neighborhoods that are much more popular, so we don't get anybody. So I mentioned last week that the jazz thing was over, which it still is, but, I'm not ruling it out. Brent and I have talked quite a bit over the last few days, and we'll see what happens, but I went on Friday night to meet a guy whose band is looking for a bassist. Their bassist is leaving them at the end of the year, and they are an established band. And I went to his place, and we played some songs together, and we talked about his expectations, my expectations, that sort of stuff. I think it's a pretty good fit, but I'm not sure. And so he invited me out to a practice. It was supposed to be this Thursday, but it's going to end up being next Thursday. We're going to have a practice, just, see what happens. And we played songs I've never played before, just picked it up on the fly, and he said, yeah, you're going to be fine. Like, you can do this. And I was like, okay. So, I've made a commitment to him that I'm going to show up to a practice, and we're going to try it and see what happens and see if I mesh with the rest of the band. They're like a 5-piece band. I think it's right. Yeah. Yeah, 5 pieces. And that could be a very cool opportunity. It is sort of old school Western country / rock / blues type band. They do a little bit of everything from like, Merle Haggard and Waylon Jennings and Patsy Cline to, Creedence Clearwater and Springsteen and just kind of all over the place. And it's cool music, fun music to play, and I've been working on a good bit of it. The scary part of it is they do sometimes like 4-hour shows. I don't know if they actually play the full time. They definitely don't. When you play a show like that, it's more like 3 hours with some breaks. But they do bigger shows where they'll do like, need to learn 40 or 50 songs to do this show. So that's kind of a scary thing. But they also do smaller stuff. 2-hour shows, 1-hour shows, that kind of stuff. They play festivals, they play car shows, they'll play weddings and, events. And there's here in Fairmont is the West Virginia Country Music Hall of Fame and Museum. And they have a show every Saturday night called the Sagebrush Roundup, which used to be a radio show back in like the 30s and 40s, I think. It was a long time ago. There was a radio show that went until the 80s, I think. I can kind of remember my grandfather listening to it. He was a big country western fan. So this is like a pretty storied place. I think the place that it is now didn't exist in the 80s. I think it was a late 80s or early 90s place that came up. But they do like a traditional country music kind of Grand Ole Opry type show on Saturday nights. Food and dance and play music. So there's a lot of opportunity with them if I end up going that way. And I really liked the guy that I met and had a fun time playing with him. So hopefully, if nothing else comes of it, we can get together again and play and, see if we can do something, something else. So I'm not ruling out anything at this point. I had a weird weekend thinking about music all weekend because it has become, I've become obsessed with music over the last 2 years or year and a half. I'll be honestly saying that like the last year and a half for sure, and maybe even the last 2 years. I just didn't buy a bass until a year and a half ago. I've this is something I just have to do. Like, it's been something I've wanted to do for most of my life, but I just kind of never gave in to that urge until now. And now that I've given into it and I've let it become a part of my life, I don't want it to stop. I don't want it to stop in any capacity. I want to keep playing music, however that works out. And I've talked before about the jazz versus, like, let's just say the country western stuff. If you're playing country western songs, you're playing 3 chords, 1, 4, 5, over and over again. And as a bass player, it's a very, there's kind of like the expected things to play. And it can be monotonous and boring if you look at it that way, but it also is an opportunity to really dial in tone, finger plucking, nailing the pocket, adding cool flourishes to make it your own, maybe even soloing on some songs. So there's a lot of opportunity. I'm using it right now as an opportunity to train my ear, to learn music by ear and learn and to hear those changes, especially those 1, 4, 5 changes, which is something I haven't really been able to work on or haven't put the effort into because with jazz, I mean, good luck. You could try to learn it by ear. I guess there are people who do, but that's a monumental task in my opinion. This is a much more approachable task when there's expectations. The expectations is we're going to play within these 3 to 4, maybe 5 chords, and you just need to hear those intervals and be able to play those intervals. And then the rest of the song just kind of makes sense. So I think it's a cool opportunity. I'm really excited for it. I'm going to put a bunch of work in over the next couple of weeks so I can show up and make a decent show of things. Play some good tunes. But yeah, that was pretty much my weekend. I played music Friday night. I spent Saturday with Violet and went to my sister's house for a little bit to meet with my cousin and her and just hang out, and they could hang out with Violet while Malia worked. And I just literally thought about music all weekend. I think that what came of the phone call that I received, the ending of the jazz gig was really just me sitting down and really evaluating my place with music right now and how important it is to me. Like, ending the jazz thing it hurt. Like, it hurt a lot. Like, I'll openly admit that I don't want to say I cried. I don't think I cried, but I got damn close to crying because that music was very special, but also it was music, right? And the idea of not playing music, like, I missed a week. We didn't play last week because we were supposed to play Thursday night. Like, the idea of not playing music was just so, like, I have to do it. I have to do it. I have to play somehow. So now knowing that there's potential in the future with this other band or whatever, or even going back to the jazz thing, knowing that that's not a closed door and that there's options, I'm even more excited. So, all right, enough about the music. What do you guys want to talk about this week? I'd like to talk about something interesting. I'd love some topic ideas or some questions that you'd like answered, whether it pertains to life or the universe or having children at 46 or whatever. Put something down below. Leave a comment. While you're down there, like the video. If you're new here, please subscribe. Say hi. I really like hearing from you, and I really appreciate the growth. I'll see you again tomorrow. Today's 1,000 plus little things happy, successful people do different. We are learning 20 morning mantras to start the day loving people. Number 9, there is no such thing as self-made. Someone else believed in you, someone else encouraged you, someone else invested in you, someone else prayed for you, someone else spoke over you. Be that someone for others too. I think the important thing they're leaving out here is someone gave you this space. Sometimes in order to be, quote, self-made, you need the space to run and to see things through. And sometimes that involves a lot of sacrifice on other people's part. And so if somebody in your life is trying to run, maybe give them the space to do so instead of trying to hold them back.